Hey guys, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. I'm out here doing some more writing, so I want to jump on and do a quick little clip from the writing today. And so I'm going to kind of pick up where I left off yesterday. I want to make sure that my mic is working so you can hear that. All right. So it's saying, thereby you are not passed down by them unto itself. You are a result of them, being that which comes together, for they are of themselves a God. So as I was saying in the last clip, they are source themselves. So in being source, the book is sharing that you're like a God, right? Because you get choice, you get free will, you get to make up your own mind, you get to create. You are a God. You're a God or a goddess, right? So they are then unto themselves as a God, just as you are, right? Which is the believing in itself something else when you're separate that you're not. So in order to be where you are in Him, which is in alignment to Source, to be the God, which is the second down from Source, right? So you're at the next level of awareness in the being. So it's like having Source, then you have your knowledge or wisdom, which is you in alignment to Source, and then you have the human, which is the next step down, right? So you're either here, here, here. So kind of along those lines, right? And so with the choice, you get to create, you get to do whatever you want, you get to be, free in here. Now, when you're there's what I've written before about your being separate, right? That is your freedom from Source. It's not your liberation. Your liberation is to be of Source. Your freedom is to be from Source. So there's the freedom and the liberation, which is two different things, which is in the book. That'll be coming in different parts to bring it all together at some point. So you have that, right? So thereby you are it, which is God and Source, because you are. Right? So thereby the mixing of the blood unto itself in Him to that which you are being, which is the Christ, right? And I know Christ and Christ is two different things, right? So you're of the Christ. What's the Christ? Thereby you have always been God unto itself. Christ is like crystalline, the crystalline body, which is the bliss body, which is the source body. You're both, the gene, not just a human form, which is the construct of the mind that we're seeing and believing to be true about us because we see it and we don't see Source, right? So over time, the lineage has been, the word I'm getting is dampered, of the true self to be of the human self, which is the race that we call ourselves, right? And then to be there known, we are what we are, that we say we are, that we believe that we are, right? And so in that being, we become that, right? It's we be what we believe. That's why believe, it's like be live, but you put together, it's like believe, right? So you become it when you're separate from Source, right? So the way the discourse puts it, you are of a God yourself, because you can do and be exactly what Source is, right? You can be it through the human form, which is a God. Like when you put God into form, it is the body of God, which is Christ, not Christ, right? Thereby you have always been God unto yourself, to that which is within Him, which is Source, within you, being that which is Source. Thereby that which is the next step down unto itself in being form, which is the layers of Source in the being of itself in form, right? There's different layers of Source, the knowledge, the wisdom that it comes from, which is from lineage, right? So everything in the body is basically from the beginning of time till now, right? And so your parents Your body that you are now stores everything since the beginning of its lineage. So you have everything here. It's like a recording device, if you will. So it's stored. It's like the records of who you are, and we have the ability to access that. Like, and we do that in healing when we do alternative healing and methods and things like that, meditation. We're able to see and bring that up and heal and transform it, right? Because it's energy, it's an intelligence. It's not solid form. It's just a memory that's stored within your body. It's an intelligent system. Thereby, that which is the next step down unto itself being in form, which we are capable of being in this present time and moment from where we've been. It's like, it's almost like, okay, so the Laura, right, has, I'm being the Laura, but I've also been my parents, I've also been their parents, I've also been there, because it's a lineage. Everything that they've ever been, everything that they've ever done, everything that they've ever believed in is all here in the Laura form. And that is part of me as the form, and that is what makes me up now today as the Laura person. And then you have the source, which is within you, which is the DNA, um, the intelligence system that's working beyond, the scenes, things like that. Thereby, the crystalline being is that which you are, that shines brightly unto itself in Him, which is not HIM, which is source, which is alignment. Him is in Him, like resonance, alignment, which is source. Or to that which you are being, which is a human. So if you're in line with the human, you're in Him to the human. If you're in Him to source, you're in Him to source. To that which is source, the Father of all being, which is the Father of time, which is the keeper. Meaning to be of all things unto itself, and Him to that which it is being in relation to, meaning you are of it unto itself and being that which is now, not that which it is being in Him to human, which is the form. Thereby it is, you are not human, but source in living time, if that makes sense. It's something you have to really get into to like, it kind of builds on itself, and you have to really read it from the beginning to the end, because by the time you get to the end, you're going to understand it. It takes little clips and it helps you, okay, to understand this before you can understand that, because the mind cannot conceive of the reality that we're being in, which everything seems to be like from our perspective where we are in the human form. But you also have the source form, because like if you're present with yourself, you notice there's another part of you that's being there present with you, right? And when you're in the human construct, we're not always aware of it, but if we're able to bring that to a place of still, we can be in presence of that is acknowledging itself. Because even in your acknowledging it, you're acknowledging, like, I'm seeing the tree, I'm seeing everything, but there's also another being within me that be through me, and it's like I've seen myself be seen through other eyes, if that makes sense. And it's our internal guidance, and it's just this thing that it's this energy that just moves through you, right? So, and then the Father of all being doesn't mean it's a male, right? The Father, which is the creator, with the whole thing. It's not meaning that it is a male form or a male energy. It's just the Father of time, right? The Father of time is the keeper of time, which is of all the old being, right? Unto itself. And then it goes on to say, thereby you are unto itself, and Him to its relation to that which is source. Thereby be it the result of being in time, that you take up of it that which is human gene, which is its genre to itself. So the genre is whatever it is that is your difference, right? It's not that you're different from any other being that is human or anything else. It's your difference. Now there's the difference and the difference, right, that it talks about. So it's just a difference in appearance. It's not that you're different, because you're not. Underneath it all, you are all one. You are source. You're not different. It's the appearance that is the difference, which is the frame of mind in reference to that what you're seeing, this is me, this is you. I look like you, so I must be that which I am seeing. But in reference to, you're seeing what you're being outside of yourself to see what you are, which is a reflection of itself in being who you are, right? They're telling me. So in that, like, you're able to recognize, okay, I don't look like the grass. I don't look like a tree. I don't look like a squirrel. I don't look like, I look like them in resonance in resemblance, but there's still differences, right? It's not different, because if I would say different, then that would be saying you're different than them, which you're not, because they're source as well, right? So they're not different. We're just showing up different in difference, which is reference to itself, right? So it's the appearance of how I'm seeing it. How do I see it, and how do I choose to see it? If I'm choosing to see source in them, then I'm choosing to see source in myself, or myself in them. Or I'm seeing something that's different about them that is different than me. And I'm also seeing, okay, maybe they have black hair and I have, I don't know what you call this, brown hair. you know, it's different in reference. It's not different. Nobody's different. We're all source, no matter where we are, what we come from, or how we show up or appear as. So we're not different. We're in difference, all right, which is reference to ourselves. So that's what the genre is. And to itself, and being that which you are of different color and or race, right? Thereby the race and color of your existence is that which it takes up to be who you are, because I wanted to become a dyslexic character. So for me to do that, I had to take up my parents, who, when they came together, would be able to create the version that I wanted to be through, so I can go through my experiences that I wanted. If I wanted to have different experiences, I may have taken up somebody who had was taller or shorter than me, black hair or blonde hair, in different parents, different upbringing, different environment. So it all comes together, right? So there's no difference. It's just what you're taking up to be in the present moment of the experience, the existence that you are being, to be who you are, right? You're choosing this, right? And so again, there's no difference between them or us as in source. It's just who we are as we're showing up, that we're choosing to take up, right? So we're choosing, to be where we are and who we are, right? So why do we hold it against each other, right? You got to understand it to know it, and to understand that, no judgment, against anybody, right? We all have what we're doing here as the play and being together, if that makes sense. So thereby it be the result of being in time that you take up of it that which is human genes, which is the gene to itself, and being that which you are different color and race, color and race. Thereby the race and color of its existence is that which it takes up, not that which it is being. For you are of me, which is hyphenated me, as in source. You are of me, which is source, unto itself in difference, which is in reference to, but not different than, that which I am being. Meaning we are all from the same cloth. You are only seeing by reference to that which you know of that isn't, meaning you are not different in of itself being, meaning you are all one, right? And so thereby goes starting to talk like like it's reading. Oh my gosh, it's crazy. I woke up this morning and I was channeling as I was waking up into the Laura form, and I was like, oh my god, it's just like downpouring to get this done. And it's like what I woke up with this morning is oh god, what was it? As it was just coming down, it was like the kingdom. So the kingdom is what we are creating, right? The creating is what we were going to be, what we were going to experience. That's what the kingdom is. Goodness. So when the goodness is for all, right? Because even in your suffering, there's good that comes out of it, right? It makes you stronger. It makes you different. It changes who you are. It motivates you. And I kind of talked about that yesterday, I think, in that video. um, and it's it's those things that we have to like really see about the truth in it, because we can believe what being told of us of what it means, but we don't know the truth until we go within and see what it is, and we ask for the truth to be seen, and which is truth. And I do that too when I come into, sometimes when there's an issue in my life or there's a conflict, I always call out to the universe to bring truth in. And if it's mine, then I'm gladly going to take it because it is mine. If it's not, then that'll come to the head too. I call truth in. You can call truth. Truth is in existence. It's a law. When you have a disagreement between something or someone or even yourself, you call in truth. That it's an intelligence. You call in truth. It's a thing, right? And I don't know if you guys knew that, but you can do that. It's a part of seeing through the illusion to yourself. And I use that as a tool for myself to see, okay, let me cut through this illusion. What is it that I'm not seeing? Bring me the truth, bring me the awareness, right? And so I call that in. And so whether it's in that moment that I'm able to see it, or, within the next day or two, because I notice there's like a day or two elapse, but it'll come in, right? Anyway. So you are from the same cloth. You're only seeing by reference to that which you know of. So you only know of who you are if you're not in alignment with source. That isn't, meaning you are not different in itself being, meaning you are all one. Thereby divided by time unto itself to that which you are seeing is that which is different, meaning that which comes after. Thereby you are after yourself, or you are after source, which is not to go after, chasing, but is to come after. So you're after your parents, or you're after source, right? That which comes after, not before, because there's nothing before source, right? You are it. Which is the relation or the related. So to be of the parent, you're of the related, and if you're of source, you're of the relation. So relation is what's within, and related is which is without, right? Thereby to know itself in him to source is to see no difference in its being, meaning to see that they are source themselves in their own creation as you are. And as you are, they are. There's no difference. It's just the appearance of how they're showing up in their being, which they want to create, and they have a right to create whoever they want to be, just as you do. Right? So thereby you separate yourself by the being of appearance, not the one true source. Because we're seeing it and we don't see source. Because source doesn't have a body, it doesn't have a form. It's an intelligence. It's a creation, it's a creator. Right? Thereby you are different unto itself in being until there is none. Meaning when you bring that to a close, when you're able to see yourself as source and you're able to see them as source, and vice versa, there is no difference. Like it's you become one, right? There's no difference, and it's just like you dissolve into each other. You become one with each other, and it's like nothing exists beyond that, right? Because it's all that there is. And I had an experience with this with one when I was a teenager. There was this football player that I was dating, right? And like he helped me with that experience. That was a really interesting experience. I didn't know what was going on, but it was like he was the only thing that was existing. Like time didn't exist. Nothing. When I was with him, nothing existed. It was just me and him, and that's all it was, right? So I was in his true self, and he was in my true self. So it was like nothing else was there, and it was like hours would go by, and it was like didn't even know what time it was half the time. By the time we stopped being together, but yeah, nothing existed. So when you can be in that space with somebody, nothing exists. It's when you're separate that it exists, that you see the differences between us and who we are and what we like and what we don't like and what we choose and what we don't choose and who we want to be and what are we creating, what are we wearing, how is our hair, what foods do we like. And that's what the issue, I don't say it's the issue, but that's what creates the issue if we're not aware of and accept the other person for being source as well, right? And just knowing that, can change your perception and reality of how you are in the world and how you're showing up as a person, to be your true self. Um, Parent is not the one true source, thereby you are different unto itself in being until there is none, meaning that which sees itself as one in him to its relation, not its relatedness, right? Which I just said, for you are one in him to that which it is being, meaning that which is of source, not that which is separate. So same thing, what I'm saying is like when you're one with, you don't have that separateness. You don't see their faults or their issues or your faults, and you just don't have that existence between you. Um, Thereby to capture itself in believing you are different, then you are not cut from the same cloth. Meaning, when you see yourself different, like you think that they're different, they're not source, right? You feel like and then you're against them or you're against yourself. So it's not being the same cloth, which is source regardless of your being. So regardless, even if we are feeling like we're separate or we're not one with, um, underneath all of that illusion and delusion, we're still source, right? Because that's our foundation. That's our framework, right? It's what we create on top of that. That's creating everything else. Is delusion, our experience, our the way we respond, act, and be in the world, right? So, regardless of your being, we are wait for your being, for we as in all are all human unto itself in Him to being that which is related to, meaning there is no difference unto itself in being that which is human. I think I have a typo in there. I'll have to go back and channel that. Only that which you give to it, which is through the eyes of being, right? So what are you seeing? And how am I seeing? What am I seeing from? What is the framework that I'm seeing from? What is my foundation? Am I coming from a place of woundedness, the humanness? Am I coming from the awareness, source consciousness? Where am I coming from in order to see through those eyes? Which is the awareness of yourself. You need to be aware of where you are, because from where you are is what you're seeing outside of you, which is the relatedness, which reflects back to you to to be where you are. So in the beingness, right? So if it's reflecting back to you, that's where you are in the beingness, right? And then to be able to acknowledge that we can actually transform that and learn to look at it in a different way, right? So the eyes of being, that which you are, for you can be your differences, or you can be source. So you can be your differences, or you can see by source, which is of the choosing, right? So you get to choose which you want to see through. Nothing's wrong with either, right? Thereby to be one with or separate of isn't of itself in itself something else other than what it is love, meaning you are in of itself being that which isn't, right? So you're either being through the eyes of source, which is love, which is oneness, is seeing all, and kind of like my experience, being love is having love for all things, not that what you're seeing as in a reference or difference to that's separate or thinking it's different. Being love is acceptance of all things as they are in their true self, whether it is false or true, right? Um, Thereby it is that which you see from, which is seeing in alignment to that which is either love or that which is hate, because the only thing that's on the opposite end of the stream of love is hate, right? So you're in that stream of consciousness, right? There's a stream of consciousness from one side to the other, and sometimes people want to talk about it like duality, but there's streams of consciousness and awareness from where you're seeing. Which is of the only two spectrums, which is the consciousness of being, which is the way of suffering, or that of bliss. And then what you choose is your experience. So you're either going to suffer or you're going to be in bliss of, right? Which is the acceptance of its own existence or not. I'll read one more sentence and then we'll take a moment. Thereby it is by that which is love, or that which is not is by that which it bees to itself, which is a reflection of itself being. Meaning if you're going to be love, that's what you're reflecting out, and that's what you're going to receive. If you're being hate, you're reflecting that out, and you're going to be hate. Because being that we're in the human form, we have the ability to be in consciousness with source. But in the human form, what we are is what we were reflecting and receiving. So we're either in either one of those. Like if we're in the human form, and I forget, I'm trying to think of what they put it as. So you're either in related, which is a reflection, or you're in relation, which is source. But either way, you're from that space, you're reflecting out and you're receiving in. That which you are, that you take up, which is the belief system or the knowing of source, right? So what you believe about yourself as a human, what you know about yourself as source, which is not better than but the higher consciousness versus the lower, right? So there's different consciousness levels, awareness. And another part of the book there talks about the higher conscious, which is the fifth, and then the lower is the third, right? So the human form, the 3D, the 5D levels of consciousness. But yeah, that's where I'm going to kind of end it out for today on that. If you have any questions, definitely drop it down below. And again, like I said, hopefully at some point I'm going to have some groups together, or if you want to have a session, and I'm going to try to get some online groups going and talk about things like this. So yeah, that's it for today. Remember to like and share, and post anything down below if you have any questions, or ways of sharing things that you're aware of it, or how it would relate to you. I do want to say that this is a no judgment YouTube zone, so definitely be mindful about what you're posting. And thank you, and I hope you have a great day and happy journeys.